Hey, what's going on, guys? It's BJ with Bad Talks. I'm doing something a little bit different tonight. Coming back early. This is not the West Virginia preview. This is not the Oklahoma State recap. I did that the other night right after the game. I'm going to call this a State of the Longhorns address. All right. We're going to go over, kind of touch on what Tom Herman talked about in his press conference today. And then we'll go over kind of where I think, my opinion, where I think we're at in this season right now with the Longhorns. If we've met expectations so far. If not, we'll talk about some players. We'll talk about the coaches. This may be 15 to 20 minutes long, but we'll jump right into the press conference. Coach Herman opened up with, learning our lesson from this game. There's a lot of things and teaching points that he can make out of this football game, and I hope they do. The worst thing they can do is play this way and not learn anything from it and come back and play like this against West Virginia. They do that against West Virginia, and we'll lose at home and be out in the Big 12 race. He made a point again. He said it 100 times now. We got to play our best to win a football game. I'm not sure I completely agree with that. I mean, that may be a little exaggeration, but we got to play well to win football games, especially in the Big 12. We can't just come in flat like we have in some of these games and pull them out. But he likes the no quit in this team, the fight in this team, the grittiness in this team, and I have to agree with Coach in that one. He talked about it's a culture, and the culture has changed, and we expect to win football games, but that's great because we haven't had that in the last few years. He touched on Oklahoma State playing great, which is normal. A big takeaway is we're still first place in the Big 12. He really talked about that. He did tell his team that he usually don't talk about the big picture, but he wanted to on Sunday. He wanted to talk to them about we're still right in it. I mean, we got the tiebreaker against Oklahoma. We're tied with West Virginia in first place in the Big 12. And we play them this week. So everything we wanted, everything that Texas wanted to open the season and their goals for this season was the Big 12 championship. And whatever happened after that, then let the chips fall the way they fall after that. So that's still in front of them, which is a good deal. And that's good that he talked to him about that and didn't hide from it. I think Matt Brown used to hide from that stuff, like, one game at a time, whatever. No, man, let's talk about it. Let's put it on the table. It's out there. It's the elephant in the room. Let's talk about it. He talked about West Virginia's quarterback. We'll talk about that later. He gave an injury update. Bregan Hager has got a shoulder SC sprain. He said a deep SC sprain. He's day-to-day, which would be big. We need him. Talked about Jamison having a midfoot sprain. He's day-to-day. Punt return, kick return. Well, we need Jamison in there. But the big news today, he talked about Malcolm Roach maybe coming back, a little playing time against West Virginia. But it looks like he may be back for Texas Tech in a couple weeks. That's big news. Malcolm Roach is a big upperclassman, defensive end, outside linebacker type guy that can make tackles and hit. We miss Malcolm Roach on the defense. So that'd be good news if he got to come back. But overall, Texas Longhorns are healthy. That's big. When you're sitting in first place in the Big 12 and in your conference, any conference that you're in, that's huge if you're healthy. We always seem like we have some key injuries every single year. But this year, we're doing pretty good about staying healthy, knock on wood. He asked about if the suspensions gave him anxiety or affected his team. And he said didn't give him anxiety, but it absolutely affected the team. Not so much to give up 260 yards in the first quarter. It felt like 260 points, but 260 yards in the first quarter. That wasn't the root cause of it, but it did affect the psyche of this football team. And that's, I'll touch on that later, that, that's huge because it affected us fans. I made my pick Friday night that Texas would win the football game. If I would have knew then that those guys were suspended like that, I probably would have picked Oklahoma State. Not so much because I think Boyd and Davis can shut down anything out there, because I absolutely don't think that. But it would have been a sight. Like I said, I say it a lot, but I've been around football my whole life. But it can change minds. And this happened to me in my senior in high school. We went undefeated. We were a good football team. I was starting running back. The buddy that shared carries with me, he was a great running back. Turned out to be all district and stuff later on after I graduated. Maybe some all-state stuff. But our quarterback got sick, and he didn't get to play. We were 10-0, first round of the playoffs, go playing a lesser team. And the quarterback was sick and didn't get to play. And the psych, it messed us up here. And we ended up losing 13-0 to this team. We should have beat 50-0. We still talk about that to this day. So I would have picked Oklahoma State probably to win. I may have picked them to win if I knew that ahead of time. They asked him if the guys just weren't ready to play, if they just maybe didn't think Oklahoma State was such a threat, and he completely shut that down. Said guys are ready. They just didn't play well. It was one of those games they didn't play well. They got asked about Manny Acho and Chris Boyd kind of going at it, and he said he talked to Chris Boyd about it, that the way to shut people up, shut the media, shut analysts up, is put it on the field. Put some work in on the field. Keep your mouth shut and play football. That's Manny's job, is to criticize. I didn't like the trash word that Manny used, but it's his job to criticize Texas. It's his job to criticize Ohio State, Oklahoma, Texas, A&M, whoever he's talking about. It's his job. But Chris shot a shot back out at shot a jab back out at Manny on Instagram, calling him out. And I didn't care for that too much, but it is kids being kids, But that's enough with his pressure. It was about the same old stuff that he usually does. So now let's get into the state of the Longhorns. Where are we at this time of year? Where did we think we would be when the season started? If you told me August 30th that Texas would be 6-2 going into the West Virginia game, first place in the Big 12, and only one loss in the Big 12, deal. That would have been my answer, deal, because of the past. 10 years ago, I'd have been upset. 2 losses is unacceptable for Texas. It happened, but it was still painful. But now, absolutely would have took 6-2 at this point. So we're on track. We're doing better than expected, right? The problem is we got put up to number 6 in the country. We've won 6 in a row after the Maryland embarrassment. And some of us started drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm not going to say some of y'all, but some of us started drinking the Kool-Aid. Some started talking playoffs. I didn't. I wanted to talk about playoffs in a couple weeks after we beat West Virginia and Texas Tech. We beat West Virginia and Texas Tech, we would be number 4, number 5 in the country if we won the Big 12 championship. We could talk about it at least, but now we can't talk about it. But I saw the Oklahoma State game coming, even though I picked Texas that morning. I talked to my brother about it, saw it coming. There are times it showed against Oklahoma State that we're an undisciplined football team. We're one of the most penalized football teams in the country. That shows you're undisciplined in your fundamentals of football. You're undisciplined in your technique and just undisciplined all the way around it. And we knew that it was going to come back and bite us in the butt. And I'm kind of glad that since we knew it was going to come, that it happened against a team that was 1-3 in the Big 12. It's better to get that out of the way versus Oklahoma State that doesn't really have a shot at being at the top of the Big 12 versus doing it against a one-loss West Virginia team where it puts us completely out or gives them not going to put us completely out, but gives them an advantage over us if there's a tiebreaker like we have against Oklahoma. So it's good we got that out of the way. Now, I'm going to ask this question. Were the suspensions a distraction? Absolutely. Chris Boyd and Davis, and even little Jordan Humphrey, I know he only had to do a series, but it was a distraction for your team. No ifs, ands, buts about it. It was a psychological influence on our team. And I don't care what anybody says out there. You try to tell me different, I'm not going to fall for it. It absolutely affected this team. It affected the way they practiced. It affected the way they played. It affected the way they thought about the game. And they knew they had 2 starters out on defense. And those 2 young guys come in and tried their darndest to play well and didn't. But they got thrown into the fire because of 2 people on defense wanted to be selfish and miss team meetings. That's the story. I'm not buying that, but that's the story that we get. So it absolutely was a problem for the team. And speaking of Chris Boyd, he done some Twitter stuff, tweeted a half-timer his freshman year, sophomore year, whatever it was. There's something about Chris Boyd that I like him because he's a Texas Longhorn. Don't get me wrong. One, he's overhyped and overrated, maybe one of the overrated cornerbacks that we've ever had. I mean, this guy is not as good as what the country's saying. Now, do I want him to be? Absolutely. he just don't have any ball skills. Davis the same way. Caden Stearns has bailed Davis out a few times. And getting off of Chris Boyd, I don't want to bang on him too much because he's a Longhorn. But, Davis, like I said, Cade's bailed him out a couple of times. But he's nonchalant in his game. He doesn't have any enthusiasm. He doesn't tackle hard. I don't know what it is about Davis. But to me, it just looks like he don't even want to be out there. But it looks like he's our best option to be out there. So that drives me nuts. But it's just nonchalant in the way he played. All right. And then Bregan Hager, you absolutely showed your butt at the end of that Oklahoma State game. All right. He's kind of funny and corny and quirky, enters interviews, and people, I love this guy because he's funny. And I get it. He's a little weirdo. And he's a hard football player. But you're not doing enough, son, throughout the year to act like you did at the end of that Oklahoma State game. And you got your coach out on the field to take up for you. Yeah, it made Tom Herman look bad. I personally didn't see a problem with it because I would come out and defend my team as well. But that would have never happened if Hager wouldn't have showed his tail end. So this senior class, these upperclassmen, are undisciplined. They really are. And they're hurting us. Sorry, I got stuff on the screen here. Sorry about that. My battery's dying. Number 66, Anderson, had a holding penalty on the goal line when we picked up a first down. Luckily, that wasn't a safety. It should have been a safety. Andrew Beck got a holding penalty when Sam Ehlinger threw that bomb to Colin Johnson. Finally caught Colin Johnson down the field. Beck gets a hold, and it was a hold. He was holding him up good, had him good. When he brought him to the ground, that's a hold. It's an absolute hold. So, good call. Patrick Vahe had a big hold. Boyd Davis, their suspension. Boyd got whipped all game. 4th and 1, and they throw it deep to Wallace. And Boyd was in position, jumps early with one hand. Not sure what he was trying to do. He wasn't going for he was going for the ball, but he wasn't aggressive for the ball. And Jones had no idea what he was doing. Jones and Boyd get whipped. Brandon Jones catches a punt on the 9-yard line, backs himself up to the 2-yard line. When if we would have got it to 20, 25-yard line or the 20-yard line, Sam took us down and won that football game or scored and get us ahead. But no, Jones had to catch the ball and fall on the 2-yard. The first touchdown Oklahoma State had threw right over the middle. Jones, I had no idea where he was going. Ran right by the receiver. Receiver zigzags into the end zone for an easy touchdown. All these players have something in common. Take a wild guess at what it is. They're seniors, upperclassmen, they're juniors. We cannot have captains and seniors and juniors acting like that on this football team and expect to win the Big 12. You're competing for the Big 12 right now. But stuff like this continues, you're not going to win the Big 12. Oklahoma's too good to beat twice in 1 year if you play like that. West Virginia's too good if you go in there undisciplined and don't have any ball skills and go for the football. Instead of turn around and looking all corny like you've never played corner before, you're not going to win the football game. You don't see Bama. You don't see Clemson. You don't see big-time schools like that acting that way. Do they have some foolishness stuff go on? Yeah, I'm sure. Do they get beat on deep balls? Yeah, I'm sure. They win football games. Bama blows people out every week. Clemson finds ways to win football game. So we're talented, but we're not elite. That's the bottom line about this season. We're talented, but we're not elite. But I do like the way they play hard. Guys do play hard. They don't quit. They absolutely don't quit. Let's talk about some newcomers. Let's talk about some youth that has came to life this season. Caden Stearns, safety, absolute baller. Jameson's got a punt return. All right, he's muffed a punt. He's got a couple kickoffs. They always make him call a fair catch. I don't understand that, but he's done some things. B.J. Foster is one of my favorite players as one of these young bucks. The kid is an elite blitzer, and he will hit you, and he will tackle you, and he can cover you. Moore has got him a touchdown. Now he's out for the season with an injury, shoulder injury, I believe. Then you got Cook that came in and played some. Sophomore quarterback, Sam Ehlinger, playing lights out. After Maryland game, everybody wanted to bench Sam Ehlinger. But Sam Ehlinger is one of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12 right now. Is he elite? I don't think so. But the guy can win football games. His moxie. Whenever we were down 10, going to the fourth quarter, he's holding up the 4 fingers and he's laughing, saying, let's do this. Easy money. Let's go. The problem is nobody followed him. But I love me some Sam Ehlinger. He is the staple of the football team. Blue collar, hard nosed, hard playing football player, just like we want our Longhorns to be. Brewer, tight end. Keontae Ingram, another favorite freshman that I have. The kid, I cannot wait to see him get in the open field. I want to see him hit it like Deontay Foreman did against Kansas that year on the sideline, but I want to see Ingram hit the middle and be gone. I want to see that speed in open field because I know he's got it. Taquan Graham's playing. He's playing some good tight or defensive end. Josh Thompson, one of my other favorite players, sophomore. I love when he's in there in nickel. I've said it every video. I want Josh Thompson in there instead of P.J. Locke. Kid's fast and kid will hit you. Chris Brown's got some playing time as a sophomore. Dicker, the kicker, beats OU with a long field goal. Little inconsistent at times, but still, he nailed. I mean, you beat OU with your foot, dude. You're a hero forever. Our punter is coming along. He'll get some bombs. He hasn't shanked one since early in the season. Knock on wood. He's kicking the ball fine. And then Sam calls me on the offensive line. That's 14 freshmen, redshirt freshmen, true freshmen, redshirt freshmen, sophomores that I named off. 14 that's contributing this year. That's not even talking about Adele and those guys that are on the sideline that haven't even got to play yet. These freshmen that are monsters. So the future's bright for this team. I think next year we may slip off just a little bit, which we'll talk about that after the season. But then that third year, I think, man, this team's gonna be lights out. I'm at 17 minutes, so I'm gonna close it up here with the coaches. I think we're inconsistent a lot. Tom Herman's calling plays. Nobody can convince me otherwise. It hasn't been out there. Nobody's brought it up in the press conference anymore. But Coach Tom Herman is calling the football plays. And ever since he took over after the Maryland game, we've been a better football team. We've been a better offense. No ifs, ands, buts about that. But we're a little inconsistent with our substitutions. I'm not sure why Young still gets to come in for Keontae Ingram in critical and crucial parts of the football game. I don't understand that. Keontae should have been in that game. He had 1 carry in the fourth quarter, only down 10. 1 carry in the fourth quarter, your best running back. Kirk Herbstreit and Fowler talked about this kid all night long. He got 1 carry in the fourth quarter. That's got to change. I don't know if that's Stan Drayton, the running back coach. I don't know if it's Tom Herman. I don't know if it's who it is. But they need to get this kid on the field, man. That's the kind of stuff that bothers me. Seems like we try to outsmart teams with some funky stuff sometimes. I'm not a big fan. I do like our jump passes that we've added because it's one thing to run a jump pass, but it's one thing to run a jump pass off from another play, and that's what we're doing. And that's why it's working. So kudos to the staff for that. Coach Herman's got this team playing hard. Coach Herman's got them buying into the Texas culture. Tom Herman has got this team believing they can win football games, and I think he's got them believing they can win the Big 12. All right. So right now, midseason, Texas sits number 15 in the AP poll, and I think that's accurate. I think that's real accurate. Even when we're number 6, we all may have bragged about it, but deep down we knew we were not the number 6 team in the country. We were waiting for a night like Saturday night. 15 is about where we're at. All right. I think between 18 and 12 is kind of where we should be. So 15, I can live with being 6-2. But Saturday night, I like how it seems like we're going to swallow the loss pretty good. But Saturday at 2:30, we got a number 10 team, West Virginia. They only got 1 loss a year against a feisty Iowa State team. So we'll get to see them on Saturday. And, of course, I'll talk more about West Virginia on Thursday. But, guys, I'm glad that I got to do this Longhorn State of the Union. I hope that's okay. Leave comments for me, man. If you do, I continue to do stuff like this. I love talking my Longhorns. I'm right at about 19:30, so it's going to be about 20 minutes. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. I hope you guys liked it. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. Let me know why. Subscribe. Share this with people. Let's talk some Texas football, man. I'm hyped. Let's go. We can win the Big 12. Let's do it. Hey, why not, right? It's our turn. Hook 'em.